I suppose to many people, paganism means probably something different. But here in the forest, which I think is, in my opinion, the best place to explain what paganism is, to me, at least, that is, I'm sure other people's perception will differ, I would say that the worship of nature is what paganism is really all about. It's what connects the physical, the being, the spirit to the land. And of course, centrifugal in that relationship is worship of our ancestors. Why should we not worship our ancestors? I hear many people saying, why do you worship your ancestors? Well, do you have no respect for your ancestors? I respect my ancestors, and that is one of the reasons why I show them such reverence, because without our ancestors, we just wouldn't exist, would we? So why would we show anything other than respect for them, for reverence? And so therefore, ancestral worship is a fundamental key in the understanding of paganism and also its practice. So yes, when I worship the gods, I also worship the ancestors and the spirits of the land, and of course the Sky Father, the universe, which is in essence, I guess you could say, the beloved of Father here on earth. And so the sound of birdsong in the background, in fact all around, is a melody I would much far rather hear than listening to some rabid Abrahamist telling me why I cannot be a pagan because some crackpots 2,000 years ago said pagans are descended from the devil, they are fallen angels. Well, there is no devil in our faith. There are no demons. Your religion is a nonsense, a bitter, intolerant, twisted nonsense, which in actual fact routinely incites hatred against pagans just for worshipping the land. So let's take a look at Christianity, for example, here in England. It forbade the worship of trees, anything to do with nature. It was classed as devil worship. Well, I see no devils here in the forest. Can you see them? They must be hiding. I just can't see one of them in actual fact. Perhaps you would think that the person making this video is the emissary of this so-called devil with which the Abrahamists are utterly obsessed. Well, I'm not obsessed with it in the slightest. Do I believe it exists? Well, malevolence in all of its forms most definitely does exist. And hating pagans is a malevolence. So we don't hate other people of other faiths. In fact, we have been far too tolerant of them across the ages. And I would argue that that tolerance has now got to come to an end. I'm not inciting people to hate people who aren't pagans. On the contrary, I'm simply saying that we can no longer tolerate the hate and venom that comes from these people, the Nick Fuentes of this world. And I would also warn the pagan community here in the UK of the virulent hatred inside the centre-right factions around Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson, you know, these Judeo-Freemasons and Judeo-Christians, yeah, who love hating on pagans in actual fact. I mean, they've been pulled upon it repeatedly on television. So what exactly is it that they're hating? Well, they just hate anybody who isn't one of them. And I'm never going to be one of them. And their hatred is not going to persuade me to become one of them. I'm never going to embrace their mind virus, because that's what it is to me. The Abrahamic mind virus. I don't even regard it as a religion. It's just, quite frankly, an assortment of fairy tales that causes people to become deluded. And in the context of the Old Testament, where it comes to pagans, i.e. in the fallen angels fairy tale, to hate people like me. Well, keep your hate away from me, because I'm not here to spread hate into the world. I'm here to worship nature, to worship my ancestors. And I do so sincerely, heartfelt, with all of my soul, with all of my spirit and all of my being. Here, I worship what I believe in. And you can take a look around me. This is the northwest edge of Sherwood Forest. I see no demons, I see no Satan, I see no evil whatsoever. Other than that which I'm relating to pagans, not just pagans in actual fact, but primarily pagans with this video, I see nothing of that description here. All I see is beauty. If someone has become divorced from nature, then they are in essence divorcing their own being. This is our being. This is what we're descended from. And in this very forest, many moons ago, our ancestors from Germany, the Germanic settlers, worshipped Hern, the hunter, not the horned one of the Bible. No, not at all. The horned one who wore antlers at dress to connect him to the forest and to nature. There is no devil worship whatsoever here in paganism. Paganism should be about strengthening the individual and the community, and about bringing peace into one's heart and soul. But, you know, there are people on this earth who just do not want other people to have any form of peace and solitude and quiet of any description. They don't want us worshipping nature. Well, here I am worshipping nature. Nobody's going to stop me from doing so. Not in the slightest. No amount of ranting from some crazy book written 2,000 years ago, apparently, or rewritten hundreds of times since then, more to the point, is ever going to stop me. It's not going to dissuade me. And it's not going to stop other pagans either. Because what we practice, in actual fact, is the true European faith. Paganism is the true European faith. A majority of people in this world are not Abrahamists, I'll have you know. They are non-Abrahamists. And that includes Hindus, in actual fact. You know, that's one thing they always conveniently seem to leave out when they're anti-pagan hatred, is that Hindus are also pagans. They worship a pantheon, just like what Indo-Europeans do. So what exactly is the problem? I'll tell you what the problem is. It's about conquest, social control, dominating the entire human community. And pagans don't exist to do that. We exist to give the individual strength and purpose, and above all, respect for nature. And of course, for the universe as well, from which ultimately every living thing on this earth is descended, isn't it? If you think about it in real terms. So the Sky Father inseminates the Earth Mother, and here I am stood upon the Earth Mother. And it's a beautiful place. How could anyone condemn what we do? There's nothing wrong in what we do. This is nature, and it is the most natural form of worship on this earth. And that's why I love paganism so much. It's always been a part of me. Ever since I was a young boy, in actual fact, I rejected everything to do with the establishment and the so-called Christian church. It meant nothing to me. In fact, in Christian churches, as a child, I felt absolutely reviled, repulsed, in actual fact, by the iconography and the imagery and the morose energy in those places. It did not appeal to me. And so therefore, the Christian tyranny is gone, and it's not coming back, and the centre-right fanatics who are desperately clinging to some form of mythical heritage, yeah, you're not going to wipe out paganism, and you're not going to stop us from practicing paganism either. Be in no doubt whatsoever. This is the most natural, au naturel, form of worship known to humanity, and we are going to continue practicing it. And if you look on the tree behind me, there written in runes is Freya, the Earth Mother. And on the other side of the tree, just to reinforce the point even more, is Odin, the All-Father. And there you can see. And that is what we worship. And here we worship our ancestors, all of our fallen ancestors, who struggled so much to give us the lives that we have now, in actual fact. Of course they deserve to be respected for it. And that's why we revere them. That is why we worship them. But we don't worship them as gods. No, we worship them as ancestors, purely in the context of our respect for them, for our gratitude, in actual fact, for our very existence. And our existence is pagan. That's what we are. You're never going to change us, and you're never going to stop us. So I would urge you, all those people who rant about pagans, to stop ranting, because it doesn't make any difference to us whatsoever. If anything, in actual fact, it merely imbues us with greater strength to continue practicing the most natural European faith known to Europeans. In fact, we would invite you to worship with us so that you can return to the fold of your European kith and kin.